Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Dee Dee and this is Randy, and we're here at Frederick County Animal Control with some adoptable pets that might interest you, might be welcome additions to your family that we would like to show off today. And our first guest is PUMA. PUMA is only 6 months old, and as you know, in recent episodes of the show, we've talked about the lack of kitten availability in the winter, but that will be false this week, because we have several kittens in the shelter. One of our Frederick County citizens brought in 14 cats that he has been taking care of and making tame and friendly so that they would be adoptable. So we are fortunate for your sake to have some kittens this winter. And PUMA is one of the first ones that we'll be showing you today. She is 4 or 5 months old, and she is easy for staff and volunteers of all ages to restrain and handle. She has quite a full belly right now, so you're seeing her at her low energy stage. She has another sprightly, interested in playing stage of the day, which you should come in and see because it's really quite cute. If you are looking for a kitten and have found this winter is a hard time to find kittens, please come by the shelter because we actually have quite a few litters that are ready to go and interested in starting a new life with you. So if you think PUMA would be right for you, come by the shelter and meet her and all of our other cats and kittens and see if we can make a match. Our next guest is Nike, and Nike is a male 4 or 5 month old kitten, about the same age as PUMA and possibly related to PUMA because she came from the same home, or he came from the same home. And these kittens have been handled a lot and fed since they were born, so they're easy for us to work with in the shelter, and they should be easily mixed into your family at home. One of the things that we should always tell people interested in adopting a kitten is that kittens like vertical space as much as they like horizontal space. So bookcases and mantles and dining room tables are all part of the training regimen that you're going to undertake with your new kitten. We recommend when you take home a new cat or kitten that you keep them in the bathroom for a day or two so that you make sure they're using their litter box and eating their food, and that you let them out with supervision. Sometimes cats and kittens will hide someplace you don't expect, like inside of a box spring or inside of a chair, like these upholstered chairs. So you want to make sure that the kitten is settled in before you allow them to have access to the house. And then, as we talked about the vertical space, if you only let them out of the bathroom when you're prepared to watch and supervise, you can convince a cat or kitten that getting on top of the vertical surfaces you don't want them to use will be uncomfortable for them by making a noise, or some people use a water sprayer. I don't, because the sprayer is never where I need it. And encouraging them to play with you on the ground. And then I always highly recommend a designated cat tree, some furniture or shelves they are allowed to use, because if they have someplace high to go that you let them go, then they're not going to be interested in your other medium height objects in the house. You can also put in shelves at windows, things that cats like to do. And a lot of times people think that cats can't be trained, which is silly. Any animal that exists in the world is learning every day, so they can certainly learn the things we want them to learn. So if you've been thinking about getting a kitten, please come by the shelter and see our wide selection. Our next guest is Babe, and Babe is also from the same source of the 2 kittens that you just met, only she's a little older. She's 6 or 7 months old. And she has much longer hair. She is probably within the same family of all of those kittens, a long-haired cousin. And she is a little more shy than the 2 little ones that have had more time to be handled. And I will tell you that this is it's a really great thing that this gentleman has done for these cats, waiting to bring them in until winter when the population in the shelter is much less crowded, more manageable for us. and also all the time that he spent handling the cats, getting them used to approaching him and getting picked up and getting into carriers makes a big difference when they come into the shelter, because obviously the change of living outside and coming to the shelter is a little stressful on them. But also in the shelter, they're going to be taken out of their cage multiple times a day, picked up by strangers, visited by families, and it makes a really big difference that they've had all of these experiences before coming here, so that so that they're ready for this experience and ready for adoption and ready to come and visit you in your home. So if you think that Babe is as beautiful as we do, you may want to come by and meet her and see if she's the right cat for you. Obviously, all of the cats you've met this morning so far get along with other cats. So that's also something you might want to know if you already have a cat and are thinking of a second. If you think that Babe might be a nice addition to your family, please come by and meet her. Remember that we are open late on Wednesday and Thursday nights till 8, and we also have Saturday hours. Our next guest is Jordan, and Jordan is a little older yet than the other two litters, two-age kittens that we've met. He is from the same source, however. Jordan is a male, about 10 months to a year old, and he has the typical Siamese coloring, which just goes to show you that it is one of the many inherited colors that cats can have, right down to the blue eyes. He's quite lovely, very friendly, and ready for a fantastic new experience in a home of his own. And because he came from the source with the high number of cats, we've tested them for feline leukemia. They test negative, and we have given them beginning to their shots from diseases that cats can catch from other cats. And then, of course, you'll take him to your vet to get the rabies shot with the coupon that we provide for you. And he will be well on his way to a future of good medical care and a permanent home. He is, as you can see, very used to people and being handled, and just quite a lovely pet, and still very young, so he has plenty of years to give to a family. If you think that Jordan might be the right cat for you, then come by the shelter, and you can also check out our other cats on petfinder.com. If you do know of someone who loves Siamese cats and would be interested and willing to adopt a shelter cat, think about passing his Pet Finder picture on to people you know that might make a good match for him. This is Tiger, a brown tabby male, about 6 months old. He is also available for adoption at the shelter, and he is not related to the kittens that you met earlier in the show, although he is young and ready to go to a new home, also friendly and easy to handle by volunteers and staff at the shelter. If you are thinking of getting a kitten, then consider our caution earlier about their energy level, but it really is a lot of fun to get them when they're young, and a good bet if you have a dog or if you have children in the house and you want the kitten to be very adaptable to new things he or she has not experienced before. If you think that a kitten is in your future, please come by the shelter, because, as I've said before, in the winter we do not have as many kittens as we do in the spring, but as you can see just from today's episode, we have many more than you would think, and plenty to choose from. So if you think a kitten would be right for you, or you're thinking of an adult cat, please come by the shelter and meet all of our cats. We have many. There are also opportunities to see them away from the shelter if you like. March 10th we'll be going to Shockley Honda, and in March there are also a couple of events at Tractor Supply. So think of us if you're thinking of adopting a pet. We're going to be back after a short break with some more adoptable animals from Frederick County Animal Control. Stay with us.
It's a great time to be a senior in Frederick County. Don't let the word senior mislead you. It's just a way to distinguish you from the youth of today. Frederick County has 5 senior centers offering various programs for all generations of seniors. Activities include classes, seminars, social events, weekly clubs, volunteer opportunities, and day trips. Each center offers different programs depending on the needs and wants of the people who attend. Visit one of the centers today in Frederick, Urbana, Brunswick, Thurmont, or Emmitsburg. For more information, give us a call, 301-694-1605, or visit us on the web. See you at one of our centers.
Get out and be active. The Frederick County Division of Parks and Recreation offers a variety of recreational opportunities for citizens of all ages and ability. Experience the fun and excitement by visiting our special events, participating in youth activities such as youth sports, cooking classes, or camps, or get in shape by attending one of our many fitness classes, martial art classes, or dance classes. Whatever you're looking for, we are sure to have it. The Frederick County Division of Parks and Recreation, where Frederick County comes to play.
Oh, man.
If you're concerned that there is a party taking place where there's underage drinking or drugs being used, or that you've heard that a party is going to take place, there's a tip line that you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's 301-600-1318.
We are back with some adoptable dogs from Frederick County Animal Shelter, and our first guest is Paris. Paris is a 2-year-old spayed female Shih Tzu mix, and she is just as cute as she can be, and probably what a lot of people think of when they think of getting a puppy or a dog that's going to be a constant companion. One thing about getting a dog with very long hair that people often don't know is that they don't shed more than dogs with short hair, but obviously they do need to have their hair brushed, and in many cases people choose to have their hair cut short periodically during the year to make it more manageable. If you have a dog that has this type of long hair, you definitely want to get them accustomed to having their feet touched and their ears touched and their face touched, so that the only time they're handled in that way isn't for a long grooming session that they might not like. It can make them less inclined to be touched all over if it has to be a big ordeal every time. This little tiny girl is ready for a new home. She came from a previous owner, and as people know who have come to the shelter to look at our pets, is whenever someone gives up their dog, we do try and ask them extensive questions about the type of food, vet care, activities in the household, and family members that the dog has experience with. And in any case that we have that information, we're happy to share that with you. We also do here in the shelter a little bit of testing. It's not the traditional temperament test the way that people would think of it. There are no specific temperament tests that have been proven to predict the future. No surprise there. So what we do here in the shelter is we just handle the dog a lot, and our medical staff will offer them delicious food, take it away, offer them a fun toy, take it away, just put a little pressure on them and see if their instinct is to guard those resources or shy away from people. Then we share that with you. And as you know from watching this show in past episodes, we have had a number of dogs on the show that were shy or that were not comfortable with people handling them in every way. And this little girl does not have the typical small dog lack of experience issues that some of those dogs had. She is outgoing, willing to be picked up and handled, can walk on a leash, and all that kind of good stuff that you would like from a pet for your family. So if you think this little girl would be right for you, please come by and meet her and see what she thinks. Our next guest is Wolfie. Wolfie is a neutered male Norwegian elkhound. As soon as he turns around, you will clearly be able to see. One of the things about hound dogs in general is that they're known as easy keepers, and Wolfie is no exception. It doesn't take much food for them to stay in peak condition, and it doesn't take much extra food for them to put on a few extra pounds, which Wolfie has done. And clearly, he's perfectly healthy with that. Dogs don't have heart disease and artery clogging problems like humans do when they're a little bit overweight, but it's still going to be better for his skeleton and heart in the long run if he loses some weight. So he will need to be on a gradual increased exercise, and he'll also need to have a vet check him out and make sure that there's nothing he needs to worry about in that exercise program. Wolfie has an interesting story because not only is he a beautiful Norwegian elkhound, but he's been in our shelter before. He was with us about a year ago, and we knew him to be about 5 years old. We have extensive information from his owner at that time. He grew up with kids, has experience with a family, and then we adopted him out to some people who kept him just for the last year, and they brought him back saying that they just don't have the time to keep up with and care for him. That's a little hard for us here at the shelter because, as anyone who's adopted from us knows, we go to a lot of trouble to match you with the right dog, to give you a lot of information about what the dog is going to need, and we sit down and talk with you. Accidents in the shelter. We go through a lot of trouble to introduce you to a staff member who can talk to you about house training, proper diet for a dog, the kind of exercise that they're going to need. Come here, sweetie. Come back in the picture. And to make sure that the dog is going to be a good fit with your family. So when they are returned to us, which nationwide shelters believe is about 10% of dogs that are in shelters end up being returned to shelters for various reasons that match the exact reason dogs are given up in the first place. So moving, not enough time, having a new baby, losing a job, all of these reasons end up affecting family members, including dogs. And so what we would really like for Wolfie is to find somebody who is elkhound savvy and ready for this little guy to be a part of their family for the remaining, 5 to 10 years that he has left to give. So if you have always wanted an elkhound, or you simply think he's just a beautiful dog and want to learn more about them, please come by the shelter and talk to us. Check out the internet. You can find Norwegian elkhound information all over by Googling it, and we would be happy to dispel any myths or answer any questions you have about these lovely dogs and the addition they can be to your family. If you think that a Norwegian elkhound is in your future, come by and meet him. We are back with Zorro, and Zorro is the 3 to 4 year old pit bull that came to us as a stray. So we don't know a lot about his past, but one of the things that we would like you to know is that we get about 5,000 animals a year, and we do not put them all up for adoption. Some of them are not suitable as family pets, and so we don't put them on the adoption floor. We do spend 5 to 7 days trying to find their owners, and we do call rescues of all kinds to try to find placements for all of our animals. But Zorro came to us as a stray, and we did some evaluation of him, handling him, offering him food, taking food away, handling his feet, and he does very well. He has very nice manners, and he's used to people, so he would have a lot to offer someone who is looking for a big, strong dog. One of the things that we do recommend when we have strays is if any large breed dog, we don't know what his behavior with cats would be. So if you have a cat and you're thinking about getting a large dog, then come in and talk to us, and we'll talk to you about how to introduce them, how to find out more about Zorro to see what his feelings about cats are. And if you are interested in a dog like Zorro, one of the things you should look up is information about pit bulls on the internet. But be careful because it's definitely biased. Any large breed dog, when and if they bite people, which is very uncommon, can really hurt someone. And one of the things that has happened to pit bulls is that for some reason, because they are attractive to criminals who use them for dog fighting, they have gotten the criminal stigma attached to them. Pit bull is no different than any other large terrier mix, and they do like to chase things. They do have lots of energy. Zorro is obviously pretty mellow. But one of the things that we often hear about pit bulls is that they're known for hurting people. And in actuality, it's just a statistical falsity. And what I mean to say by that is that there are 90 million dogs in this country. 4 million dogs a year bite or scratch someone. That means that dogs hurt people less than people hurt people. So it is very unlikely for a dog to hurt a person, but if the dog is large and he does bite a person, certainly you may need medical attention. So we would definitely like to promote a better understanding of large breed dogs, whether it be Rottweilers or German Shepherds or St. Bernards or any dog that's big, because people rightly understand that the dog is larger, so he needs to be trained. All dogs should be trained. And if you would like to take on the task of being responsible for this lovely dog who needs to have a responsible person to care for him for the rest of his life, then please come by and meet Zorro. We often have pit bulls in the shelter because they are very popular and they make a great family pet. So if you are interested in a big, protective, and loyal dog, please consider pit bull terriers. Get to know more about them. Talk to rescue groups. Talk to us. Talk to your veterinarian, and see if you measure up to a beautiful dog like this. We are back with Zoe, and Zoe is only 7 months old. She is perhaps a lab mix, some kind of collie mix, or a hound mix of sorts. She has longish hair on her tail, and she does have a double coat, so some kind of mix of many things. And often people say that mixed breeds are healthier than purebred dogs, and while statistically that seems to make sense, the more genetic material you have, the less likely that recessive genes will appear. But many diseases that dogs inherit aren't inherited by recessive gene activity. So as little scientific that sounds, there's no guarantee that a mixed breed is more healthy than a purebred, but one of the things that you do get with a mixed breed is the full range of dog behavior. If you adopt a border collie, then you're going to get a dog who intensively likes to follow sheep and keep them in a group, a dog that wants a high level of physical activity every day. But if you get a mixed breed, you get a full range of possibly retrieving, possibly some herding behavior, possibly some scent work. So a mixed breed dog can be great for a family that wants a dog to be able to do a little bit of everything, maybe some camping, maybe some travel. So Zoe, with her wide varied heritage, can offer all of those things. One thing I would say about Zoe is that she's been a little bit shy, and since she's only 7 months old, then we would certainly recommend that someone get her involved in some socialization classes, some classes where she can be out and about with you and see things like wheelchairs and ladders and buckets going by, so that things don't have to be frightening to her. She seems like she wants to investigate this entire room, including the camera, but you can see her ears are pulled back and there's some tension in her body. She's looking for reassurance from Randy. So she needs a little bit of experience to find out that scary, odd things she sees are not necessarily dangerous to her, and that it would be okay to go forward and investigate those things with the protection and help of somebody like you that she trusts. If you think that Zoe would be a good addition to your family, please come by and meet her. We'll talk to you about her, and you can meet all of our dogs and see if we have your perfect match. We are back with Scarlett, and Scarlett is only 6 months old. As you can see by her energy level and her happy tail wag, she is going to require a number of longer walks a day than an older dog might. But she certainly can learn a lot. Scarlett looks like she is mixed with a hound and some kind of terrier, maybe a little bit of Jack Russell Terrier, maybe a little bit of Beagle. It's hard to say. But we do know that she was previously owned, and we have a little bit of information about what kind of food she liked and what her experience has been so far. But obviously, at 6 months old, she hasn't had much experience. So she would be ready and willing to learn just about anything she needs to fit into a family. And one of the things that people often ask us about our adoption procedure is we get about 150 puppies a year, dogs that are under a year old. And what we do is we accept multiple applications because The application process at the shelter is pretty straightforward. What you need to do is come in, meet the dog of your dreams, fill out 3 pages of paperwork on what you want from the dog. And by 3 pages, I just mean front and back of 1, and then a signature page. So it's not that bad. And then we make sure either you own your home or that your landlord doesn't care if you have a pet. And then we ask that you bring your family in to see that everyone in the family likes the dog or cat and that the dog or cat fits in with everyone in the family. Then we sit down and talk to you about house training and puppy classes and nutrition and exercise and shedding and fleas and ticks and all of the things that you need to know about. And if you decide to take the puppy home, then you do so. With puppies, we do accept multiple applications because I cannot tell you how many people change their mind. And that may be as a result of coming in, falling in love, going home and looking at your house and realizing what you might be thinking about damaging by bringing a little dog like this home, or thinking about the schedule that you have. Because if you work for 8 hours a day and you sleep for 8 hours a night and you have a commute to add to your work time and homework and bath time and dinner for your kids, there really are about 2 hours left in your day. And those 2 hours are unlikely to be fully left over for the dog, considering that you probably have things you need to do for yourself. So we do ask people thinking about getting a puppy to really think about your schedule and the number of hours that the dog is going to get. Because in order to be developing a puppy like this into a lassie that everybody wants, she really is going to need more than 2 hours a day to get there. So we hope that if you are thinking about puppies, that you have put some time aside and got some schedule flexibility for the next 6 months so that she can be all she can be. If you think that a puppy is right for you, we also have 9 or 6? Six Husky Mix puppies in the shelter. Not all of them have applications at this moment. And they're baby puppies, 8 weeks old, so they really need that time commitment for house training and chew training and all kinds of things, taking them to classes. But if you are interested in a little older puppy, then Scarlett may be your girl. Please come by the shelter and see us. You can see more episodes of Pet Pals at the website below. You can come by the shelter during our regular office hours or our extended hours on Wednesday, Thursday nights, and Saturdays. And if you have thought about volunteering, please give us an email, talk to Sean about doing that. And if you have thought about adopting, there is no time like today to come by and see who's here. Join us again next week for Pet Pals.